Hey there artists, today we're going to be doing a simple snowman drawing using basic shapes. First we're going to start with a big dark Sharpie and we are going to make the shape of a rectangle. We're going to put this kind of close to the top of our paper because we are drawing this for our snowman's hat. Right below, connecting to that first rectangle, is a longer, skinnier rectangle to make the bottom of the hat. For the snowman's face, we're going to make a semicircle. So that's where you can't see the whole circle, but you can see part of it. This shape is kind of a funny shape. It's just the scarf shape. So I made kind of a rounded rectangle for the scarf and then the tail of the scarf. And at last, we're going to draw two curved lines that go down to the edge of the paper, and that is for the snowman's body. I decided to put 3 buttons on my snowman's tummy. I used 3 circles. If you wanted to use different shapes for your buttons, you could do that. I made 2 tiny eyes for my snowman. Again, if you have different eyes that you would like to use, go for it. For the carrot nose, I made a stretched out letter C and then a sideways triangle and tiny dots for the smile. At this point, you can start adding a pattern to your hat. I decided to go with diagonal lines, but if you wanted to use a pattern of circles or a pattern of triangles or a pattern of hearts or squares, it's up to you. You might think about getting a smaller Sharpie to use. I had a hard time fitting this big Sharpie into that little scarf. So before you start drawing with the big Sharpie, you might think about getting a smaller one for those smaller details. I wanted to make my snowman's arms with a brown marker so it would look like tree branches. And as you can see, I made one long diagonal line and then I made a few little lines coming off, kind of like the ends of the branch or the fingers. My other arm didn't quite fit on the paper, but that's okay. I'm just going to go with it. We're going to be flexible. I decided to go ahead and color my carrot nose orange so that everyone would know it was a carrot nose. That helps when we color things that make sense. And at this point, you're going to see in a moment that I'm going to pause for a second here. That is me realizing that I made a mistake. I wanted to make an A-B pattern in the hat. I wanted to do red, purple, but I noticed that I made that mistake and I had to decide what I was going to do with that problem. I'm not going to just throw it away because I'm going to turn my mistakes into part of my masterpiece. So I went ahead and I colored with red, and then I colored blue over the top because red plus blue can make a little bit of a purplish look. So that's how I decided to solve this problem today. I hope that you can find ways to solve your problems and add your mistakes to part of your masterpiece as well. Please notice that the first thing I do anytime I color in an area is outline that space, and then I use little wiggles or ladder coloring to fill in the area. And the reason I do that is it helps me stay inside the lines a little bit if I outline my space, so I know that I'm bumping into that crayon. I probably need to stop coloring. And I do the little wiggles so, again, I can make sure I'm just not going too far. This is me, again, being kind of flexible right here in this scarf pattern because I did not originally want a red and purple and blue scarf, but I made that mistake up in the hat, and so I'm just gonna keep going with the pattern. It's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna look really nice in the end. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a highlight or a really shiny spot on the buttons that I put on the tummy. You can see here that I left a little part of the button white. That helps to make it look like a shiny spot, which is also called a highlight. Finally, I switched over to a light blue colored pencil and I made little X's with a line through for some little snowflakes. I didn't want to make these too big because I wanted them to look like snow. And keep in mind, as I used a colored pencil, a crayon, and a marker for this project, I put all of those supplies back where they belong. I always take the time to put my supplies away so that we can find them when we need them. While I've got this light blue pencil in my hand, I decided to make a little shadow on my snowman also. Since I put the highlight on the buttons on the left side, I decided to make a shadow on the right side of my snowman. So I just very, very lightly colored with that light blue pencil. And you can see that I'm even holding it sideways so that I can use the side of the pencil lead instead of the actual point. That helps make that color a little softer, and it makes it look a little bit more like a shadow. Finally, take a skinny Sharpie and sign your name on the front of your artwork. Thanks for creating with me.